Okay, now we're going to talk about guys that we're both under the market on. So maybe basically we agree on these guys. So what we'll do is like I'll pick one and then you pick one, but we don't really need to talk about the other person.
Let's just pick one.
We agree. Let's just pick one.
Let's just do one because we're only doing an hour tonight and it's already at an hour.
Well, I think we've talked about the other two guys a lot on this show. So I'll pick one that we haven't talked about as much recently. Mostly because I think it's
hold on. You need to pick the right one because there's one that I think you should pick.
I think that we're going to land on the same one.
Okay.
Jim Cook is the guy that I want to pick.
Oh my God, no! I wasn't going to say him at all.
You weren't going to pick him?
No.
Who are you?
But that's fine. Let's go James Cook.
Who are you going to pick? Let's talk about two. It's fine. Who are you?
No, we don't have time for that. Hashtag Matt, we're sorry, or hashtag sorry Matt. We're going too long again.
Why don't you just say the name then of the guy you were going to pick, and then we'll pick which one to talk about.
Well, it was Rashad White.
Okay, well, I would have agreed with that, but I think we hammered him repeatedly like 2 episodes ago.
Did we? It's been so long. I don't even remember.
Yeah, we agree on Rashad White. We agree on Rashad White. That there's problems with Rashad White are tenfold. Number one.
No, we're not doing Rashad White. Stop it.
I'm giving the TLDR version.
No TLDR version.
Number one, he doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. Number two, he's bad at football. Number three, he costs way too much. Number four, he's bad at football again. Number five,
costs way too much.
He costs way too much, but maybe he also costs way too much. Maybe he has.
You're saying he's sick leave. Like this guy's always on sick leave. He's never showing up to practice. You don't want this guy.
No, Rashad White. Rashad White's a priority sell. I already sold one share this offseason.
I don't know. Why would you even have one?
I loved him in the rookie draft. He's a great bet. Here's why you want to bet on Rashad White.
That's your life.
He's actually he's
that was worse than your Elijah Moore takes.
No, he actually profited after his rookie year. You can sell him for more now than you drafted him. He's the key trade cut line is going up on Rashad White. Here's a profit perspective. I have traded 2 Rashad Whites now. I traded 1 in season. I traded Rashad White in a third for Christian Watson in a second. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. And then
you also hated Christian Watson.
We bought him in season. Wow. Look at that. I drafted Rashad White over Christian Watson, and then I sold him for Christian Watson plus. That's how you time the market.
Good for you.
Maybe you should learn how to time a market, Drew. Try it sometime.
Yeah.
No, okay. I want to hear your thoughts on this trade because patrons said that they didn't like this trade very much. But I traded Rashad White.
Time out, because there's a funny thing about the trade threads in the Discord. Yeah. I pop in your guys' trade threads sometimes just to see what's going on, and there's in Coops. I feel like I saw one time, and maybe it happens a lot, but he put that GIF where it's like, "Why are you booing me? I'm right." I feel like every time I go in Coop's channel, everyone's like, "Coop, what are you doing?"
Right. Well, but Coop, the problem is that we always talk about trading at cost, right? But I think that we mean it a little bit more figuratively than literally.
Yeah.
And so then sometimes Cooper will post a trade where it's we're losing on keep trade cut, and then people are like, "You hypocrite!" And that happened to me on this time. So I traded Rashad White and Jahan Dotson and the 211 for David Njoku, Deontay Johnson, and the 312. And people didn't like that because they were like, these guys are the same on keep trade cut. You gave up the pick. But my take is I like David Njoku substantially more than Rashad White, and I like Deontay Johnson substantially more than Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, I just want Deontay Johnson.
Right.
I don't really care about anybody else in the trade.
You don't like David Njoku? What happened to you?
Oh, I like David Njoku, but he's not going to freaking change your team.
He might.
He's going to score 12 fantasy points per game, and we're going to celebrate that he's the tight end 7.
Yeah, we will.
It just doesn't matter.
He might. Why couldn't he have a 22% target share on a Deshaun Watson offense?
You're underselling
David Njoku.
It's possible. And then somehow he's going to end up with 12 points per game, and we're going to be like, yay, that was really helpful. Not at all. It's not at all helpful. It's the same thing with every tight end, though. It's David Njoku is a fine role because he could be Travis Kelce. It's possible. Travis Kelce wasn't Travis Kelce for 3 years.
I'm glad that we agreed that David Njoku is Travis Kelce. That was the little tangent. Okay, but yeah, the point was we already talked about Rashad White a lot, but yeah, we're both selling Rashad White. Really bad at cost. But James Cook, I have seen a lot of people make the argument, and a honestly, this also applies to Rashad White, but this definitely applies to James Cook, I think, even more. Is people are saying, this is his backfield now. Devin Singletary is a free agent. Devin Singletary is going to be out the door. This is a James Cook backfield. Don't you want the guy in the Buffalo backfield? That's going to be James Cook. And my argument to that is Devin Singletary sucks. Okay? Devin Singletary is terrible.
Compelling argument.
He is one of the worst running backs in the NFL by rush yards over expected. He has been a bad, below average running back for every year of his career, basically. He was a mid-round, small, slow, uninspiring, non-pass catching running back as a prospect. He's been entirely uninspiring in every year of his career. He has failed upwards solely because every other running back they have brought in has been so entirely unthreatening that Devin Singletary just survives by continued mediocrity in comparison to below mediocrity as an alternative. The fact that James Cook couldn't just immediately usurp him is frankly an indictment upon James Cook. And the notion that the Bills, after having let Devin Singletary walk in free agency, have no other alternative but to simply bestow all of his touches upon James Cook is patently absurd. There are like 75 Devin Singletaries in the NFL. They grow on trees. If you just like walk down the street, you will see Devin Singletaries everywhere. The Bills can easily re-sign Devin Singletary himself for probably 2 years at like $3 million per. If they want to sign any number of other running backs who are no better or worse than Devin Singletary, they will have no shortage of options. And I'm pretty sure that their running back depth chart will include someone, some warm body of some sort, of some varying quality next to James Cook. And probably that guy is just going to take on the touches that Devin Singletary leaves behind if that guy isn't Devin Singletary himself. Because I promise you that Devin Singletary was stopping no one and nothing from simply commanding the workhorse role. If you had put Ken Walker or Breece Hall or any other actually good rookie running back next to Devin Singletary this year, Devin Singletary would have been deemed irrelevant by week 3. So just stop it.
I don't know if you were doing fantasy football analysis back in the Devin Singletary draft year, but it was a lot of fun back then.
I was doing dynasty, but I wasn't doing like analysis. I wasn't doing content.
So I don't remember who it was, and I apologize a million times to whomever had the tweet. I'm paraphrasing because it was a long time ago, but the tweet was basically, you can be a small running back and be successful. You can be a slow running back and be successful. You can be a small school running back and be successful. You can be a running back who does not catch passes and be successful. But you cannot be small, slow, go small school and not catch passes and be successful. That's too many strikes. And it stuck with me ever since. So shout out to whoever that was. And if you're listening to the show, hit us with the comments about your great tweet because I loved it. I remember it to this day. Every time I think of Devin Singletary, I think about how he checks literally no boxes, and you so eloquently pointed out. Then we had many, many years of Devin Singletary being absolutely irrelevant.
In the least with the most.
The league in fantasy, not even just fantasy, in football, like irrelevant. They're like, hey, why don't we just run the ball with our like superstar quarterback instead of hand it off to Devin Singletary? Let's put him in harm's way because we don't trust Devin Singletary to get 4 yards. Like like Devin Singletary isn't good. James Cook then coming in and, like you said, clearly showing that he isn't good either because he wasn't able to like even touch Devin Singletary's workload for like half the year. And then I'm pretty sure he only really got like garbage time, if I recall correctly, for like the last half of the year.
No, the last half of the year he was integrated into the offense. Like basically starting with the game at New England, he was legitimately integrated into the offense. They were in a close to even timeshare, and he was getting touches. But like they were giving him a lot of scheme touches, as they should. I mean, he's a more interesting, like dynamic player than Devin Singletary in a sense. And people bring up, all of his fantasy stats. Okay, he has a number 1 breakaway run rate. Number 3 in yards per touch, everybody's favorite running back stat. Number 2 in true yards per carry. Okay, I get it. That tells me that he was good at playing a complementary change of pace running back role, which is also what he was good at Georgia, which is what he was drafted to do, which is what he'll continue to probably do. Like, this guy is, what is he, 5? He's 5'11", 199 pounds. He has an extremely small BMI, and at no point in college or NFL has he ever stood up to workload, right? If this is similar, like what you said with Devin Singletary, where it's like you can't be small and slow and this and that. It's like there's a certain level of excuses that you can make for a running back, and each time you add an additional one, your argument becomes less and less plausible, right? It's like you can say, okay, this guy was really efficient and it was on low volume, but why can't he keep up this efficiency, right? And then if you say, well, he's really small, so he's probably never going to get that many carries, you're like, yeah, but why couldn't he get more carries? And then it's like, well, he also is like not actually that short, so his BMI is really small in addition to him weighing not that much. And you're like, yeah, but why couldn't he? And then you'd be like, yeah, but he also didn't actually get any carries in college either, so he's like never shown any ability to do volume. And it's like, yeah, but why couldn't he? And it's like at a certain point, it's just pretty obvious that it's just not going to happen, right? It's like, it's not like it's one thing if you're Antonio Gibson, right? And you weigh 230 pounds and you didn't have volume in college. It's another thing if you're Austin Eckler and you don't weigh that much, but you got a ton of volume in college. But when you like don't have any history of getting volume and you don't look like the kind of player who would get volume, you're probably just a role player, right? Like that's just probably what he is. So, and to be honest, if he ever did get volume, he just probably wouldn't be as efficient, right? Like
So interestingly, I just looked it up on playerprofiler.com. His average defenders in the box was 6.1, which was number 63 in the NFL. Like he was not playing into anybody trying to stop the run, like right. At all. The defense was not worried about James Cook's presence on the football field, which is probably why he was so damn efficient. But yeah, you're right. He doesn't profile as a player that's going to get a whole bunch of volume. He didn't disprove that in any way, shape, or form as a rookie. I don't know why anybody would ever expect this player to be getting a substantial amount of volume. And even his like receiving isn't that good.
Right, that's the thing. He's like not even really, and his receiving volume in college wasn't that high either. Like he's not even like a pass catching back. He's like a change of pace back.
Yeah, he's like the worst kind of running back role. Like really, like he's probably never going to see goal line touches. He's probably never going to be like a true like third down running back.
Right, because he's just probably too small to pass block. So he's like just kind of like a scat back.
It's just a terrible sequence of events for anybody trying to buy James Cook. Sorry to everyone, literally everyone. I'm so sorry that James Cook is not going to be your savior.
I think the Bills are going to do one of three things, right? They're either going to, one of four things, right? They're either going to re-sign Devin Singletary, literally, or they're going to sign like another Devin Singletary. Like they're going to sign like Jamal Williams, or they're going to sign Alex Madison, or they're going to sign any number of really boring early down running backs to pair with James Cook and take the same carries that Devin Singletary used to take. Or they're going to draft that guy in round 3 or 4, which I guess that's better than the alternative because at least like maybe that guy will totally suck. Or they're going to be like, oh, we have a chance to sign Saquon Barkley, or we have a chance to sign Aaron Jones or whatever, and they're not going to let James Cook stop them. So it's going to be one of those, or maybe they'll draft Bijan Robinson, right? Like they're either going to add a legitimate bell cow that deems James Cook entirely irrelevant, or they're going to add another Devin Singletary that keeps James Cook as a flex play at best.
Yeah. He's just if you're building an NFL team and you want to have a guy like this on your roster for whatever reason, go for it. If you're building a fantasy football team, this is a guy you want nowhere near your roster. He carries way too much value for virtually no upside and probably a really, really low floor.
Right. I mean, I made the comparison in my rookie ranks between him and Brian Robinson, because even though they're nothing alike as players, they're like kind of similar in the sense that like they're probably good at a specific thing, but they have such systemic limitations to ever scoring fantasy points that they just become kind of pointless at their current cost, right? Like it's one thing if you roster these guys when they're the boring vet version of Brian Robinson and James Cook and they cost like a late third. But when they're the young rookie, they have like fake upside, right? Like they have upside in theory because they're young, but they don't actually have upside because Brian Robinson is never going to catch passes and James Cook is never going to get volume. So it's just fugazi upside that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah. Robinson has basically what's his name? Damian Harris type.
I was gonna give him Jordan Howard upside. I was gonna be nice.
Okay, fine. Jordan Howard's pretty good. I don't know if he's got that much upside. Like that 1 year, Jordan Howard had like 1,500 rushing yards. Like that's never gonna happen for Brian Robinson.
You don't know that. Did you see some of the games at the end of the year? They were giving that guy. It was like he would play 38 snaps, he'd get 32 carries. Like it was just like,
and still did like very little with them, if I recall correctly.
Well, yeah, of course he was doing very little with them because they brought him into the game and they'd run like double tight end formation and they'd like revert the clock back to 1968. The defense would be like, okay, guys, let's bring in the heavy package. And then they'd run power O, just jamming him into the box over and over again, which I think he's pretty good at, but you just can't really move the ball doing that. So it doesn't really matter.
Love it.